Hello, my name is Dr. Heather Finley, and I'm a psychologist from the University of Vermont Medical Center. And I work at the Comprehensive Pain Program currently. And before that, I worked at the Sleep Center at UVMMC as well for a little over 10 years. And so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to deal with those sleepless nights. I know there's a lot of information out there, but I just want to talk to you about what to do when you're awake and you want to be asleep. You've probably already seen a whole list of changes you can make behaviorally to help promote sleep. Hopefully you're doing most of them. Sometimes you can be doing all of them and still not be sleeping that well. And I can also show you a list of these recommendations by sharing my screen. And as you look at this list, I would point your attention to exercise. That's where you can get the most bang for your buck in a lot of these recommendations. Certainly looking at what kind of stimulation are you getting before bed, not just caffeine, but of course, what are you thinking about? If you're listening to the news, what's that doing in terms of your emotional and mental stimulation? If we look down at the bottom part of this list, another couple recommendations I would really highlight are, if you can, avoid looking at the time. For most people who have sleep problems, if you look at the time, then you say, oh, it's only been an hour and I'm not asleep yet, or it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm already awake. Oh boy, what's today going to be like? Am I ever going to get back to sleep? So if you take away the time and knowing what time it is, you can train yourself to not really need to know the time. One thing that I have people say to themselves is to remind yourself that awakenings are actually very normal. So I'm awake, don't know what time it is, it doesn't matter, the alarm hasn't gone off, so I have more opportunity to rest. And that's what I try to have people think to themselves, which is a little bit of a shift perhaps from what you've been doing if you've had some longer term sleep problems. The other area that you get a lot of bang for your buck is keeping a consistent sleep-wake schedule. Our bodies have a circadian rhythm within that really responds well to timing. So going to bed around the same time, and even if you can't go to bed at the same time, trying to wake up as close to the same time as possible, 7 days a week if you can. And you might say, not on a Saturday or Sunday. So even if there's a day that you want to sleep in, try to keep it about an hour later than usual. That way your circadian clock, your circadian rhythm doesn't get too far off. So those are just a few of the sleep hygiene recommendations. There will also be a link that you can find this to download or print. So I'm going to stop sharing this for the moment. And the next thing I'm going to do is talk to you about what do you do when you're awake and you want to be asleep. If you're howling at the moon and you're saying, what am I going to do? I can't go to sleep. And this could be at the beginning of the night, it could be in the middle of the night, it could be anywhere in between. If it's a time that you want to be sleeping, but you're finding that you're still awake, then I would say, try my plan A, plan B, plan C recommendations. And you might say, what the heck is plan A, plan B, plan C? So it gives you a somewhat structured way to respond to these awakenings. And so I'm going to go now to my whiteboard. So plan A. Let's say you wake up, you don't know what time it is, and awakenings are normal, and you say to yourself, okay, I'm not falling right back asleep. Let me try a plan A activity. So I'm going to give you a few ideas of some plan A activities that you could try. One that I often start people off with is a counting strategy. And counting sheep is way too easy. So you want to start at 1,000 and count backwards by 3. So I'll call this count 1,000 minus 3. And by doing a subtraction of 3, it's a little more complicated. Your mind just can't be thinking of other things while you're also doing the math and staying on track. And I can guarantee you, you will not stay on track. You'll be counting 1,000, 997, 994, 991. Oh, wasn't that an interesting show I was watching right before bed? Oh, wait a minute. I was counting 1,000, 997, 994. So every time you lose track of the count or your mind wanders, which is what our minds are designed to do, just start back up at 1,000. So for you high achievers out there, the goal is not to get to 0. I haven't had an occasional person who said, I got down to 0 3 times and it just doesn't work, or I memorized the pattern. The goal is just to give you something repetitive, because it is repetitive. It takes a long time to just count backwards like that. It's supposed to be emotionally neutral, so it's not anything your mind really latches onto. And if you're in your sleep window and you're sleepy, it just allows your mind to shut down so your body can take over and help you go back to sleep. That's one example of a Plan A activity. Another type of Plan A activity, you might be doing a self-guided relaxation technique. So I'll say self-guided RP, relaxation practice. And this could be as simple as listening to the sound of your breath. Sometimes people like to count the pace of the inhale, count the pace of the exhale. Sometimes people like to visualize their breath kind of circling around them, coming up over their heads as they inhale. As they exhale, it's coming down around your entire torso so that your breath is like a circle. Sometimes people like to imagine being in a pleasant memory. And so I've had people run their ideal golf games or a perfect kayak run or sitting atop a mountain somewhere. So you can just imagine yourself and use imagery to do something pleasant in your mind's eye. So I'll say imagery, pleasant activity. Some people pray for a Plan A. You might recite a prayer or a mantra of some form. So these are all ideas that you can do without turning anything on. Just since you're lying there anyway, you might as well let your mind quiet itself. And these are things you can do to try to do that. Now, and you don't have to spend hours doing this either. In fact, I don't want you to spend hours doing that. I would say 15 to 30 minutes max, maybe 15, 20. So after Plan A, if you feel like, okay, I've counted, that really didn't do it for me, and I've done some breathing and I'm still pretty awake, then move on to Plan B. Plan B is where I do recommend that you have a guided relaxation practice. And depending on your technology preferences, some people, if you still have a CD player, might have a relaxation CD right at your bedside and you can just turn it on and listen. Some people these days have access to apps on a device. So Insight Timer is an app that I really love. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there are thousands of different meditations on there. And so even some different languages as well. And they have a whole section devoted to sleep. They've got sections devoted to anxiety and stress. You can find a meditation based on the amount of time that you want to spend. They've got nature sounds and music. So it's quite a nice option. They've also just got a regular chime that you can do for a meditation. But in the middle of the night or when you're trying to get to sleep, I think having a voice guide you through a technique is more helpful so that when your mind wanders, because it will, that voice will not wander. It'll keep going. And I know when I listen to someone guide me through a relaxation technique, it's a lot more helpful for me than I can do on my own. So you might feel the same way. So Insight Timer is a great option. There's also things like Headspace and Calm, although a lot of times you have to pay for those more premium services within those apps. And I'm sure there's many others as well. So I'm not being paid by Insight Timer to promote them in any way. It's just an example of one that a lot of people have enjoyed and appreciated. So I'll write down the other names of some of those: Headspace and Calm. I just saw another app that had a picture of a sleeping koala bear. I haven't had a chance to check it out, but if you just look on your app store or Google Play for sleep app or relaxation app, then you can play around and decide which one you like better. So with that, you do a guided relaxation practice of, 20 to 30 minutes max, I would say, just to allow yourself to enjoy the relaxation. So even if you don't get to sleep, your body benefits from practicing getting into that relaxed place, experiencing the relaxation response. And the more you practice it, the more easy it is to help your body quiet and to help your mind quiet. It's just like a discipline, just like training for fitness. If you just keep at it, your body eventually responds. Same thing with relaxation practice and meditation. The more you practice, the easier it is for your mind to just come back. We can never prevent our minds from wandering, but we can always bring them back. Okay, so that's Plan B. So by now it's maybe been anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. You don't have to look at the clock to know that. You just use your own internal sense of time. At this point, after you've done a guided technique and you're saying, okay, I'm still wide awake, or I'm relaxed, but I'm still awake, plan C is actually leave the bedroom. And I know we're in Vermont, so sometimes leaving the bedroom in February to go to another part of the house is the last thing you want to do. However, there's blankets, and it's not for the rest of the night. I don't want it to be the rest of the night. What you want to do is think about leaving the bedroom to break the cycle of insomnia. And this is based on classical conditioning. If you've ever heard of Pavlov and his dogs, meat bell, meat bell, meat bell, over and over. A dog normally just salivates with meat automatically, right? You pair the meat with the bell, take away the meat, ring the bell, and what does the dog do? They're conditioned to associate the two, and so they automatically salivate. And classical conditioning works on humans too. So what happens with insomnia is you've got bedroom insomnia, bedroom awake, bedroom tossing, turning, bedroom watching TV sometimes, bedroom arguing with spouse, bedroom eating, bedroom tossing and turning. You've got all these different associations with the bedroom. And so the goal of Plan C is to say, if we're wide awake and we're trying to sleep, let's take that awakeness out of the bedroom so that we can associate the bedroom with bedroom sleep, bedroom intimacy, bedroom relaxation practice, bedroom sleep, so that then you leave the bedroom, you do something pleasant in the other room, don't be productive. I've had people say, oh yeah, I worked on my taxes, or I made cookies, or I cleaned my bathroom. That's too stimulating. So you want to just leave the bedroom and go into another room and do something relaxing, pleasant. Ideas that people have used include doing puzzles, watching the night sky, perhaps, listening to soothing music. Some people like to write in a journal, read, as long as the reading isn't too compelling and grabs your attention too much. Jigsaw puzzles, playing solitaire with cards, the old-fashioned way, not with a screen. And that's the thing I would say: when you leave the bedroom, try to avoid watching TV or getting on the computer, because that's just something that can suck you in. Because what you want to do as you leave the bedroom, you're kind of breaking the cycle. And then when you feel nice and relaxed, feel ready to go back to the bedroom, then go back to the bedroom. Don't stay out of the bedroom longer than, say, 30, 40 minutes or so. You don't want to spend the rest of the night out there. And try not to fall asleep on the couch or the recliner, because again, we want to strengthen sleeping with the bedroom. So after you've been in the other room for a little while, doing something pleasant, you kind of broke the cycle of insomnia, then you come back to the bedroom and just say, isn't it nice to be back in my own bed? And isn't this comfortable? And if you want to, you can just go through Plan A, Plan B, Plan C again, if you like. So I hope that gives you some ideas of what you can work with. I should write under here, Plan C, leave bedroom, do a pleasant activity. Another one of those activities could be even some gentle stretching, especially people who have that physical restlessness or legs that are kind of feeling antsy. Some of those could be ideas to help you. I hope some of these tips are helpful for you. And I know that every tip doesn't work every time, 100% of the time. However, I think if you, in general, use some of these principles more often than not, I'm hoping that they'll give you some better sleep. Be well and sleep well. Take care.